1, 2, no.
You look like a model.
Well, I haven't showered today. Trying to get my wrinklies out.
Welcome to the Video and Vinyl Club.
Video and Vinyl Club.
I'm Emmy Wildwood.
And I am Erin Marsz.
And today we are really super excited to be doing our very first episode of this podcast, which we plan to bring you 10 episodes of. How would you describe this podcast?
This podcast is like hanging out at the video rental store or Merle's record rack shop, your local record place, and talking to people about stuff you've listened to and stuff you've watched.
Yeah, remnant of Kim's Video, or like where I'm from, there's a place called Zia Record Exchange. It's like buy, sell, trade. You could go in and buy like used VHSs, CDs, vinyls,
Yes.
DVDs. Yeah. And I loved how you said that like people used to like talk about stuff when they were, that's how you would find out about movies and music, is like you'd go to the local like.
Oh, totally. I mean, here's a perfect example, right? Like my first job when I was in high school was at this place in my hometown called Merle's Record Rack. And Merle's Record Rack was run by these twin men. They had one in
Twin. I
This
was
is a
expecting you to say like an old lady named Merle or something like that.
I could never tell them apart.
So they were dudes. How old were they? Like older?
I was 14. They must have been, I don't know, they could have been in their late 30s. It's like hard when
They
you're
could have
younger.
been 60.
It's really difficult to judge age of adults, right? So you just go, a person's older than me, right? Like they're a lot older than me. No. And I guess it was like a small kind of chain. They had one in New Haven, they had one in my hometown in Connecticut. And I got hired there. I applied, and all these boys in my high school were really mad because they said you only got the job because you're a girl. I was like, whatever.
That's not really how it works. That's usually the opposite of that.
Right. No. And when I was working there, I thought I knew a lot about music. And I think for that time, I mean, I was 14 years old, right? So how much does a 14-year-old really know about music? But being in there, I learned I didn't know a lot about music, and there was so much more to know, to the point where when customers would come in and they were looking for this, looking for that, like I was able to give them more guidance because of the conversations I'd had with coworkers about albums that people were putting out.
Yeah, you're like taking other people's catchphrases and stuff. You're taking other people's, totally.
And realizing stuff that like, oh, you like that band? Well, the guitarist from that band, they left that band and now they've started this other band. And if you like that, you're probably going to like this, and all those kinds of things, in the way that you can grow and get recommendations, and it helps develop your taste. And I think that that's a huge part of what we're missing right now, and conversations that I really still yearn for. And it's the exact same thing with film, right? It's like, you like that director. Well, if you like that director, you're going to like this other director. But what I think is really fun, and on and on, right? But I think what's really fun about what we're doing here and with this podcast and with the conversations that we're aiming to have, we're taking the two things we love, music, movies, and we're concentrating on films that have people from music who are now in movies. And going like this.
You know what I love about musicians that are in movies, artists being in movies, was like you got to like have 2.5 hours just like looking at them, seeing how they talk. Even if they're like playing another character, it was like intimate time with like your favorite artists in movies. Like I remember when I was 14 and Gwen Stefani was in a movie, I like couldn't wait because I like loved No Doubt, you know, at 14. And I was like, I can't wait to see Gwen Stefani. You know, it's like you just want to go get a deeper peek in. You know, now that we're not kids anymore, it's fun to sort of like go back and see, you know, talk about why maybe a lot of these movies were impactful and why we love them so much. And I feel like most of them are like pretty great. And that's just because they're like well-rounded performers. So why Erin and I feel like we are, you know, good people to talk about this with is we are both musicians. We are both in the band Guns N' Hoses, and we've both played in bands our whole entire life. Erin is a director, award-winning, and I'm a huge fan of movies because I dissociated from my painful childhood by watching them. No, I was just kidding.
Who didn't?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're able to have a double-sided conversation. So I think it's going to be really cool. I hope that people will enjoy it. Actually, I really don't hope they'll enjoy it. I don't care if you like it or not. We're going to have a good time. So get on the bus or get off the bus. I don't care.